Well, hello my friends, it's Shawn Petite. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Look at this fun piece. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And here are the supplies that we're using. So I'm starting this project on a journal page and I am just getting some layers down. I'm using the new stencils that are in the shop and I'm using Liquitex spray paints, acrylic spray paints. I have put some papers down just with my just from the scraps that I had in my stash. This stencil is the carved up stencil. And I originally started this project as just a sample and it took on a life of its own, and I'm going to share more about that at the end of the video. But the story behind this piece is amazing. So I am now just this is the carved pods stencil, and I use most of the stencils as a stamp as well, and I kind of designed them that way, that I wanted that kind of rustic, kind of grungy feel, and being able to stamp with them makes them look carved. So lots of fun new stencils in the shop. I did get new spray paints too, so of course I'm experimenting with that. And I was not planning on doing this for Sunday Inspiration. I had a whole nother project planned. And then all the meaning and everything happened with this piece. It was divine. It seriously was divine. So I got some stencil pattern down in a few different colors with the spheres, carved spheres and pods. And now I'm just kind of getting some grungy layers. I knew I wanted it to be grungy. It's kind of how I was feeling. And I just wanted to experiment and play a little bit. And this really honestly was an experiment. And then it just went from there, and it was so wonderful. I'm using Deco Art Media's acrylic paints, the ones that I've been really loving lately, Thistle, and actually they're Americana paints, Thistle, Fawn, Cobblestone, Stone Gray. Those, I just love them. And I'm just putting messy layers down and just really honestly playing at this point. And really trying to figure out, well, okay, where am I going to take this? And still kind of try the stencils at the same time. And that's the journal writing stencil, which I love. It's going to be a favorite. These are the carved numbers, big, bulky, kind of, just grungy, graffiti-like almost. But I'm wondering where I'm going to go with this, and the story just came, and I can't wait to share it with you at the end of the video. So I'm just continuing to layer back and forth and stamping with the wet paint on the front of that stencil with my stencils. And then again, layering up some more layers to kind of push back and then reveal, and push back and reveal. I'm doing the dance and kind of choosing what I want to show and what I don't want to show. I'm using gesso and then the Americana paints. I blot up because I really want it to look matte and kind of grungy, faded. And then I'll come back in with water and kind of blend in and wipe away certain areas to kind of soften all of the layers together. So as I was thinking about this, I thought, I think I should do something fall as kind of an experiment. So I got out my pumpkin stencil and I'm like, the background is so grungy good. I wanted to make it kind of grungy. And at this point, the story had already come. And so I knew that I wanted it grungy because that was the season and that's how I was feeling. And so the pumpkin was so much fun. I just kind of went to town on it, kind of not traditionally stenciling, and I just kept layering it until I got that kind of grungy feel that I wanted. And so I initially put the English red color down. That's a Lucas paint, and then I want some like speckly, kind of like it was painted on the side of a wall, kind of graffiti like almost. So I sprayed a little bit of black spray paint real loose so that it kind of speckled around it a little bit, or speckled through the stencil, and then kind of pick that up, and again picking it up kind of mats it down a bit and kind of softens it. and I scratched through it. I mean, I just had fun. I had no rules, because I wasn't really thinking about this as being a Sunday inspiration, so I wasn't worried about, I guess, the showing it really. I mean, I thought maybe I could do it as an Instagram video or something, but so I was just free. And I just kept continuing to grungy up that pumpkin. So I put my stencil back down and got some parchment paper out and some gesso, and then put my paper down on top of that to get those kind of scratchy marks. Oh my gosh, so much fun. And so many fun tips, techniques that I found, just kind of like, okay, what if I did this? What if I did that? And also trying to kind of match my story as well that was happening within the layers of this piece. Now I'm just putting down some of that scratchy kind of yellow fall color. Oh, it is so good. And so now that I've got all those colors down, it was super dark, so I wanted to kind of lighten it up and again kind of get it a graffiti kind of feel and kind of grungy that up a bit. And so I wanted to bring back some of that kind of English red oxide, so I just did splatters on it, and it's awesome. It's just so good. Here's my Blackbird stencil. The other stencil was the pumpkin variety stencil. That one's been around for a while. The Blackbird's new in the new stencils. And see, I just like it would there was so much freedom as I created this. I just scratched into it and just really expressed so many things through this piece. So this is the Mum stencil, and I knew I wanted to use it and try it out, but again, as the piece progressed, it couldn't just be a regular stenciled Mum. I thought I would do it, but I knew, because I initially kind of put it down and I'm like, nope, that's not it. And so I knew that the black spray paint was going to be the answer. I just wasn't sure, what it was going to look like. And oh my goodness, it just made me so happy. So at this point, so you can see me dab off on the towel over there, and as soon as I dabbed off and I got the pattern, I was like, oh hallelujah. I just found the most beautiful image with so I spray my spray paint onto the stencil and then stamp it down, and it is fantastic. And it was exactly what I was feeling. It was exactly it was just amazing, and I love the look, love it. I'm running out of words to explain how great I feel about this as it came together. Look at that. Just super grungy and graffiti-like. At this point, I'm like 100% in my head telling myself the story, going through all of the layers and the meaning that's happening within this piece. And absolutely loving it. Got some acrylic ink now to just, well, of course, you need a little more grunge. So added some acrylic ink to bring in some of the browns and warmer tones. So all the supplies will be listed down below in the YouTube description box, and the link to all the supplies is down below in the description box, and that will take you to the blog, and you can see everything and see the products and the links as well. So now I'm just going to start adding some really scratchy marks. I'm using two different pencils, extra soft, actually maybe three. Extra soft, medium, and hard to get different variations of sizes of pencil marks. And then I'll use a white pastel pencil to get even more kind of scratchy graffiti marks. Just kind of play a little bit here. A couple of marks I didn't really like, and so I just picked them up. So I'll just continue to add my marks and some additional shading around the bird and the base of the pumpkin. And then I'll add some shading with my black soft pastel around the edge of the piece. Then, as I was searching for the words for my story, for what was happening in this process and inside of me, I just randomly picked up a reader book, one of the vintage books that I had, and opened it up, and it said the seasons, and it had all 4 seasons. And it was like it was made for this piece. And so I searched for the words that expressed how I was feeling and what happened. And I cut those out and put those down, and that is it, my friends. Super easy. Wonderful, grungy. Stick around. Please stick around for the conversation at the end. It's a good one. And I will see you next week. Well, hello, loves, and happy Sunday to you. I had so much fun making this. This project took on a life of its own. I can't even explain to you kind of what happened in this process. But before I jump into this, so all the new stencils are in the shop, and the only stencil that's going to be on sale this week will be the pumpkin one, because that's an older stencil. The new ones, you know, they're brand new in the shop, so those won't be on sale for a while. So anyway, but the pumpkin one will be. And let's see what else. All the supplies and everything are listed down below. Okay, so there's also new workshop available as of today, Sunday. I never know what day it is. Sunday the 6th. New workshop called Shelter, and let me just show you really quick the Shelter projects. If I can grab them real quick. Sorry. Okay, so this is the Shelter, one of the Shelter. We do 3 projects. It's kind of a mini workshop. It's super inexpensive. It's on sale for early bird pricing for $19, and then regular pricing will be $22. But I'm trying to do some smaller workshops to make them more affordable. to to have a variety of different ones. But this one, I love this one. This has got lots of texture. We do some hand sewing on this. And I thought shelter was perfect for right now for where we are with the pandemic and everything. And home is so important to us. Here's another grungy goodness. Oh, shelter, shelter. And then we do a real fun and whimsical one. Lots of layers. I provide over 30 pieces of collage paper. All the collage papers that I use are all in the shop, but you can also use your own. So we do those 3 projects for the shelter workshop, and I had so much fun. Paper is just so good in so many ways. It just really kind of gets the juices flowing, and lots of collage. We do some of the texture work, lots of acrylic ink, and just kind of grungy goodness. And so just a quick mini workshop for those 3 projects for only $19 for this week. So really great deal on that. Stencils workshop. And Stella and I tried to do our live video, create together on Facebook, and it's not working. So we're going to do it on Wednesday this week, the 9th, Wednesday the 9th, on Instagram. It's just easier. So if you want to catch that, you can. We'll create together and have some fun. Okay, back to this project. So I started this project as just kind of a demo for the stencils. And I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do. I was thinking of fall because I wanted to use the crow and that kind of thing. But I wasn't sure, and I thought, well, I'm just going to turn the camera on and maybe I can use the video for like Instagram or something like that to kind of, show off the stencils. And as I began this, it took on a life of its own. The layers really drew me in, and I really kind of got lost in the process. And so once I got down the road on this, I'm like, this is good. And I knew the meanings just kind of took over in this process as I was creating, because I was thinking about, as I got the first few layers down, where I was going to go. And I wanted it to be fall, and in my mind, as I was thinking about this project, I was thinking, I'm so ready for fall. I'm so actually ready for the season to change. And as I thought about that, I'm like, I love summertime, but this year the seasons have been so weird, and I just can't even believe it's fall. And then I started thinking about the seasons in general, like seasons of my life. And this is kind of, I just got enveloped into this piece as the story started playing in my head as I was creating. How we're always going to have seasons that we really want to get out of. I mean, that's just been, there are seasons where it's wonderful. And then there are seasons where it's like, okay, I've had enough of this. Let's move on. And the only time that I have found that the season has changed for me is when my heart and my attitude and my gratitude changed. And this whole thing was like working its way out through this process. It was just, it hasn't happened like this for me in a long time. And I really feel like there's a shifting of myself, of my art, of a lot of people and their perspectives, just because of where we are in the pandemic times right now. And so as I continued to dive in, and the story was rolling through my head as layer after layer, and I got to the final stages, I really wanted it to be grungy because that's kind of how the season was feeling. Kind of messy and scratchy and grungy and all those kinds of things. And so as I started down here I wanted to use the mum stencil, and I was going to just stencil it out and kind of make it pretty, and I'm like, no, my season right now doesn't feel very pretty. And so I spray painted it black and then, stamped it. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was so amazingly grungy and perfect for the expression of what was going on inside of me as I was creating. And I love it when that happens, when we can really kind of express all the things without even knowing all the things, and the story develops, and the lesson that comes for me for this project specifically was amazing, because I was feeling kind of like, ugh, all right. And then as the story rolled and I was talking myself through the seasons and going down that path of the thought process of, well, it's just a season, Shawn. And then I started thinking about, well, how have I gotten out of, funky seasons before? And of course, this is an extraordinary situation that we're all in together. But how have I gotten out of this season before? And I've looked for I've looked to be more grateful. Looked for things to be grateful for. Finding my gratitude has always brought me out. It's shined the light to the way out. And so as I started putting my words down, the seasons, I just flipped open Child's book. And in fact, it's, no, I don't know what I did with it. It's in the mess back here. But it's just a vintage kids reader book. And it said the seasons, and it had summer, winter. I had all the seasons. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It was like everything came together. And I just pulled different snippets from the words to that kind of represented what I was feeling and the process that I had taken. Hear the wind. So I think we're all kind of feeling the wind right now, and how I want to run away. I want to run away, but that I will go out of this crazy season with gratitude. And so that's really how this all came together. I wasn't planning on doing this at all for Sunday Inspiration, but as I started, it took on a life of its own, and this incredibly wonderful meaning that even in this process changed me, changed my thinking, and I can feel that shift, and how amazing and therapeutic art can be if we let it, if we get lost in it and we just enjoy the process and ask ourselves questions as we're creating, and why we're creating, and the colors that we're choosing, and why we're choosing to go grungy, and all of those kinds of things. So, my loves, today, create with passion. Dive into your story as you create. But the most important thing that I want to tell you is that all seasons pass, whatever season you're in. If it's, winter for you right now, and it's just the hardest thing you've ever had to do, it won't last forever. And if you're in summer and spring and it's wonderful and life is great, cherish every moment, because that too will change. And in every season, be grateful for something, one thing, or all the things. Because our seasons change all the time, and we shift with the wind, and sometimes we want to run, but then we will go into a new season, but we need to go with gratitude to be able to see all the blessings, all the lessons, all the things in each season. All right, my loves, I hope you have a wonderful Sunday. I hope you check out the new stencils and the workshop. But most of all, I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.